All right, let's talk because what I'm about to say is not going to feel good to some of y'all, all right? But if you want to actually scale your business, right? Truly scale your business and stop being a salesperson inside of your own dang funnel, you've got to be willing to take just a temporary step back so you can actually step into some real, true, genuine leverage. All right. Now, don't get it twisted here. Like, I'm not here to kind of glorify slow months or act like cash flow does not matter. You're talking to an ex accountant here, right? But what I am saying is this: if every dollar in your business is tied directly to your personal effort, right? Time equals money for you. You don't own a business. You've just built a high pressure job. All right. Let's go ahead and break that down. My name is Justice Severin. I make these videos for coaches, creators, experts, high ticket service providers. I'm making them every single week for you here live and direct, dropping them for you to make sure you can soak up the goods here. And today is no different. I want to make sure that you can just come here and take what you need and run with it, right? I'm here to give, and hopefully you are ready to receive. All right. So obviously, if you're new here too, definitely make sure you drop a new down below in the comments. Let me know what you got going on, who you're serving. I would love to see you. If you're returning, stop messing around, man. Just subscribe. You like the values, keep soaking it up. I'm giving away these gems for free here. It's the only place I do it like this. So make sure you're catching them while I drop them. All right. So today, like I said, I want to really just dive in and get you to the good stuff. So I'm thinking let's just go ahead and jump right in. I was talking to a client on one of my recent inner circle calls. Actually, this was literally a call yesterday, and he's been doing this a minute online, right? And he's basically, when I think about his journey, kind of especially before we met, and even like how he has kind of was able to get the most results inside of his own coaching business, it really had come from just kind of hustling in the DMs, showing up every day, like I said, making sales, but also at the beginning he wouldn't admit this, but very burnt out, right? Very burnt out. I think that he wouldn't admit it because if you have to do it in order to get results, it's easy to push through the burnout, right? It's like, in a sense, it's almost like he doesn't feel like he's burnt out, even though I can see he's on the brink of it, if you will, right? And what he told me on the call yesterday really hit me. He said, Justice, I'm finally starting to get it, right? Email's not just a follow-up tool, it's the main stage, and I think this is where, when it comes down to it, it really starts to shift people's thought process. Like, my goal here today is to really make sure that you can understand ways to bring leverage into the business the right way. And, he just didn't think that people would buy his offer unless, he was in their DMs constantly. But now these people are applying for calls, right? They're pre-sold, and he just gets to show up and collect decisions, AKA collect payments there. And this isn't a fluke, all right? Like, this is genuine leverage in real time. And this is, I would absolutely say, like, one of the biggest mindset shifts that clients typically tend to come across inside a brand of clients, inside of B2C when I'm working with them. And especially lately, right? Just because when you're making this move away from being so heavily focused on the DMs, or even just so heavily focused on social media in a certain way organically, it changes up on you, right? And especially when you're moving away from these things into the kind of email asset game, right? And I've worked with a few folks, a few is a drastic understatement, but people who really have been going hard in the DMs, and they've realized the same mentality that they're building a job and not a business for themselves. And, what I want to scream at them a lot of times early on, but I have to keep my coach's hat on. But what I want to scream at them is, like, don't be Jimmy. You're over here still treating your DMs like a CRM. There's a better way to do things. And it's that switch from manual hustle to leverage systems that is uncomfortable. And I always laugh at it. Even as I say it there, I can't avoid saying this. I just feel like so many people want the right systems. But I think that a lot of times too, honestly, and it's probably the industry's fault, systems has become this kind of just like, I don't know, this just this term. And to some people, it's a 4-letter word where you hear it and it almost like you just brush it off, right? It's almost like when someone says, "Oh, AI is going to completely change your business and everything," and like, there's no need for humans anymore. It's like people are brushing that off, and some people are sipping the Kool-Aid, and but I would say when it comes to systems, I think that, and here's why I say the correlation. I think that everybody realizes how important AI is and how much it can help a business. But everyone realizes how important systems are, how much they can help a business. But a lot of people are just kind of throwing things out there that aren't really helping you move the needle forward, right? I would say it's the same with AI. There's a lot of stuff that's more flashy than actually going to, and I would say the stuff that is flashy could be very, very beneficial, but you don't know how to use and apply it to your specific business. So, which means now it's flashy and irrelevant. Same thing with systems for a lot of people. They understand the power of it. They know that if they had this, it could bring leverage. It could get them more time freedom, location freedom, financial freedom when dialed in the right way with everything here. But they struggle to make the switch, right? And like I said, because it can be very uncomfortable, but the reality is it can be completely game changing. So, like, why, if we know this to be true, you should be basically searching for the truth, right? Why are you still trying to convince all your leads manually when your system could be doing the heavy lifting for you? You've got to start really moving from hustle to system sooner than later. You got to move from random conversations to intentional automated sales flow. This will completely change the game, especially once you see it work. It will be very hard to go back to how things were. I can promise you that much. Like, this is what gives you freedom without sacrificing revenue long term. And then because now I want you to start thinking about this, like when it comes back to the time that you'll get back, right? With that time you get back, now you can focus on bettering your marketing, right? Bettering your fulfillment, right? And I think arguably one of the biggest ones is just bettering your life, right? The choice is yours, which you want to lean into, but all of them are at your disposal once you have this, right? And this is the power you're able to wield when you're closing with assets, especially. That's why I'm always preaching about building assets over building products, offers that, like, you need the right leverage. And this came from a life lesson I had to learn early on, honestly, as well. Like, I remember one weekend, I had DMs flying in. I think I was running some kind of, special or something maybe, and leads asking questions, and people are saying, I'm interested. And I can remember this so vividly. Lauren, my wife, she was trying to hand me our daughter, and I basically had to say, like, hey, hold on, I'm about to close a deal real quick. Awesome thing to happen. But at the same time, like, it was, I was realizing in that moment, even though money was potentially about to hit my account, like, I had not built a real business here. I had built a leash. I was a dog on a leash, and it just felt like I was putting myself in a 9-to-5 in a sense here, which is not why I got into this. And I can almost guarantee it's not why you got into this either, right? So that's where the two assets come into play extremely heavily now. The first asset you want to start to build is one that qualifies your leads, acting as a daily buyer engine, right? It sells for you. And really, it funds your traffic, right? It is funding your traffic. It is allowing you to get leads in for free, right? In an automated sense, right? And arguably, most importantly, it tells your audience, hey, like, if this person here that actually is coming through is a real deal, right? And they're very worth paying attention to, as opposed to you just trying to kind of go through, especially imagine doing this manually. You're going through all these cold leads to find out that so many of them are freebie seekers, Then once you figure this out, now you want to stack that with a second asset that includes your premium high ticket offer, right? I like to see high ticket offers anywhere from $2,000 to $5,000 plus. $1,000 and beyond is honestly fine as well too. So that's how you want to have it. Now imagine this, right? Imagine this scenario. You're waking up, you're checking your Slack, maybe, you're firing up your Instagram, trying to figure out what to post next, but simultaneously leads are ghosting you, after you've written them. This is the painful part. After you've written them maybe 7 paragraphs in the DM conversation, right? And deep down you're wondering, how am I grinding this hard but still not winning? How am I showing up like this and it's still not clicking for me, right? Now imagine this. You wake up to 3 new buyers. Each one saw your message, opted in, bought something, and already knows who you are and how you help people. Doing all of this without a call, without a pitch, without pressure. That's the difference from when you actually start selling with assets instead of effort, right? I always talk about, you want to invest in energy, not time, right? Invest in energy up front, built in and really built through assets. You want to put that energy out there and now have it come back to you over and over and over again. This is a large difference between offers and assets that we'll get into as well here too. This is really, though, what's allowed me to make email such a main stage in my business and not an afterthought. It's where your highest leverage selling happens now, when you start to really tap into this mentality. Now, some of you watching this are like, cool, hey, sounds good, but that's just not going to work for me and my audience, my offer. I'm unique, I'm this special snowflake. And I will tell you what, cool. Just keep on grinding then. Keep on hustling away, But don't come back to me in 6 months talking about how burned out you are, right? Because this game rewards the ones who build with intention, not energy. And you know what? I'll be nice. If you do come back in 6 months, check out the link. Okay. But this is how you want to get this right. Now, together, right? Let's get into some implementation aspects here now. Together, these two assets, my daily buyer engine attached and matched with my premium high ticket offer, become what I call the invisible funnel, right? It's not flashy, it's not hypey, but it does work 24/7 with or without you. And this is where the leverage starts kicking in systems wise. Now, the difference between offers versus assets. I get this question a lot, right? I want you to start to understand this so you can start really seeing the shifts that I realized years ago, right? This isn't just about slapping together a digital product, right? But building automated selling tools. There's a major distinction here, right? Every digital asset is an offer, but not every offer is an asset. Now, a low ticket offer sells something, yes. A digital asset is going to do the selling for you, all right? This is where things start to really shift. And not only is it going to do the selling for you, but it's going to do it again and again without you there. One disappears after you launch, the other compounds over time. When you see it from this and when you set up this way, this really flips the switch of being able to start selling without sales calls, right? Especially, I don't want you taking any free sales calls anymore. Like, even for high ticket, this changed everything for me. And how folks, I think also just for folks here, like, and how folks are shocked by that shift. I just see it over and over again. They think that something is impossible. But that's what I'm saying. Just wait till you see it work for you. And it will completely shift your way of thinking. And then it will just naturally start to shift the way you operate and show up in the business. You're going to start to get burnt out. Even though you should have been burnt out already, this is going to speed up your burnout with what you're actively doing because you now know there's a better way. And it's really tough to go back once you know there's a better way and it actually works. And this ties right into this mentality of the $0 loop lead as well. And this concept basically allows me to have my low ticket buyers funding my visibility for my business. If it's also pre-qualifying them, and it is giving me a smarter list of leads to focus on, a smarter list of leads to send emails to. I am not just wasting time, energy, money on the wrong people all the time, right? A $7 day, sale today, and it can be a $1, $97. These sales today, they filter out tire kickers, right? I always say anybody who pays $1 versus somebody who's paid me nothing, I want to focus on them more. Without a doubt here, right? And I want you to have the same mentality here too, because the tire kickers were never going to drop, your 6K, 10K, 2K, whatever it may be, right? Because this ain't just a product that we're putting in front of them. It is a buyer filter, a value engine, and a trust builder all rolled into one. And this is what really starts to shift things. Now, I don't want you, having to, this is the reality. I don't want you having to worry about, I need 10,000 leads to get things moving. We got to work our KPIs out like crazy. It's like, I will take 10 buyers with intent any day of the week over 10,000 random leads bought from a vendor. It's just some nonsense, right? And this is why when you build this way, paid ads really are not risky, right? When your system pays for itself, all the daily lower ticket sales, they're covering your ad spend, growing your audience with the right type of people. And yeah, I'll keep it real. For those of you who are out there seeing results while endlessly hustling, for some of you switching to the system, it could absolutely result in slowing down your income for a bit, at first, right? And I've seen it where some people, if that really pains you to think of, do what I see a lot of people do inside of B2C. Take this and just start to pivot slowly, make it a gradual pivot here, right? That way, now you can kind of have it where it's replacing over time. To be honest with you as well, too, and transparent, that's what I truthfully did instead of kind of completely switching because I saw this starting to work, but I was still attached to the hustle. And I just know that I have clients who are just not. And if you're in a space where you have more of a cushion, you don't have to do that, But this is just something you really want to start to think about because you're pulling back from being everywhere every single day. You're not responding to every DM anymore. You're not living in your inbox. You're truly building something. And this temporary dip in income, I'm telling you, it not only can, it will potentially be, especially if you do it, if you're trying to go cold turkey and make this switch, it will be the largest, most impactful, smartest move in order to help you scale, not just survive, right? And this is the exact thing that gives you your freedom back long-term. Completely changes the game for you, right? And this is what has changed everything for me inside of my business and really, like I said, my business and my life. I mean, you got to start to realize this. Business and personal, they are intertwined whether we like it or not. It's the same way I like to say without your health, you got nothing. Like, yes, money's great. If your health is the crapper, all that money means absolutely nothing to you at that point in time, right? And so this is how you want to have this when you view your business. You want this right freedom here. And this is why this philosophy, this mentality, this way of showing up has changed everything for me. It's, and now it's actively the way that I'm hitting 60K months. It's how I've sold without calls. It's how my clients are stacking, 10 to 20K plus months without the grinding, and I think about it. I could list off a bunch of names, Crystal, who's installed her system to get 22K in her first 60 days we were working together. Brianna closed 10K in her first 45 days. Vince closed a 15K client in the first 30 days of him launching his community that helped him roll out together there too. Alan closing over 100K cash collected after launching this flow. Ryan stacked 2 10K months back to back. The second one had a 100% closing rate, right? Month 2, 100% closing rate. Like, I'm sharing this with you, not as a flex, but to show you, you do not need more leads. Stop viewing it that way. What you need is more leverage. So ask yourself right now, right? Like, you should be asking yourself here. I want you to truly think about this. Are you optimizing for speed or are you building for scale? One of the things I'm always preaching to clients when they come in is really you want to view it this way. You need to build something that is sustainable. You don't want to build something that you'll be able to stay with it for 3 months, 6 months, a year, maybe even a year or two, right? Like I mentioned, that's fine, but I want to have something that I know I can keep this consistent for as long as I need to, years to come. So that now if you end up wanting to go back and hustle all these things, you can do it with this initial base foundation and system stacked from the beginning. That is the leverage I want you to have. And the folks who win big in this game, they don't dread their business. They just really aren't dreading their businesses, and they aren't the ones who are sprinting aimlessly. To be simply put, they're building smart leverage systems that let them breathe, grow, and win. And when you do this the right way, it completely will change your life. I promise you that much. And I'm telling you, just like you take this shift, you implement it, you start seeing validation with it. It's going to be very difficult to go back to how it was. All right. I promise you that happened to me, and I see it happening every day inside of B2C as well too. And by the way, I will say, like, if any part of this conversation is resonating with you here today, I just happen to be smack dab in the middle of the holiday asset activation campaign right now. It's a special I'm running for my brand of clients where I work with folks one-to-one behind the scenes in a tight-knit container. All right. If you're watching this and happens to be past that, hey, you can. Brandon Klein's is still a great place to be. But if you happen to be watching this right now, the folks inside are watching this exact system unfold in real time, okay? So what I want, if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, or you want to even just like see the specifics on, definitely look below this video. Click the link in the description, all right? Like, all the specifics are inside. And inside the asset activation special, I will walk you through the exact invisible funnel that's turned a $9 offer into multiple 5-figure months for me over and over again, without having to go with all these crazy sales calls, without the complexity, just assets that do the heavy lifting for me. All right. If this sounds like your next step, like I said, check the link, tap in. But whether you join or not, like, here's the honest truth. Here's the honest truth, point blank period, right? You can keep grinding the manual route, or you can start playing the long game that pays off on autopilot. It's your move. Choice is yours. But I'll tell you this right now, less is more. Don't build a generic sales process. Build a true buying experience.